Welcome to Box Recaps. Today I'm going to explain the movie Bokeh, released in the year 2017. The movie begins and we see a bus traveling through Iceland. The couple, Janai and Riley, are napping on a bus that is traveling in beautiful open land. They stir and wake up. Riley takes out his camera and starts taking pictures as the scenery on the road is spectacular. The bus drops them at their stop. They pick up their bags and find their hotel. They arrive at their hotel and move toward their room with their bags. They get to their room, put their things away, and look out the window. The hotel room is small but beautifully designed. Next, they are out sightseeing different places and various other activities, while Riley continues to take pictures. They go to a hot spring and spend some time alone as they move into a small tunnel and start to make out. Janai asks Riley if he knew that he had spent all his savings on this trip, and Riley answers that he is aware of that. Janai tells him that she really wanted to help, and then she starts to put mud on Riley's face. They both cover each other with mud and have a pleasant time together. They stop to eat at a cafe and discuss if they can find film for the camera. Riley tells Janai that they don't need more film as he's bought a lot of film before leaving for the trip. Janai asks Riley why he won't let her buy him a new camera, to which Riley replies that he does not want a computer to auto-edit things. He wants to capture the moments in their real forms. Janai tells him that he's a stubborn son of a gun, and Riley tells her that his dad would talk about capturing the real moments. He tells her that he was never really good at capturing the moments in pictures. He tells her that if there are any imperfections in the pictures, then that makes it look unique, which is good, not bad. Riley talks about his love for taking photos. Then, once again, they go sightseeing in the mountains and hills of Iceland. They end up at a church and speak to the pastor, who talks to them for a bit about the history of Iceland. The pastor tells them that this church was built in the 18th century. The people came to this place long before the 18th century. The people came to this place due to the fear of one of the Viking kings, Harold the Fair-Haired. Riley asks the pastor what life was like back then, and the pastor tells him that life was very much simple back then, and so are the stories from that era. He then tells them about the adventures of the Inca people, about whom they both have never heard before. Next, they go out with a tour group to the mountainsides. All the while, Riley is still taking pictures. As the tour guide and the rest of the people move forward, Riley sees a small cave, and he asks Janai to pose in front of the cave as he takes her pictures. They both have a great time, and they have a lot of fun. They go and stand near a glassed window of a church. Janai says that there's nothing that she misses about churches. Riley asks Janai what her father's place was like. She tells him that it was plain. It had white walls and beige carpet, which made it feel more like an office building than a house. They walk up to a waterfall and stand under it. They look very happy and in love, as they hug and kiss while standing under the waterfall. The both of them seem to be very close, and they look very happy too. Next, it is the middle of the night and they're asleep in their hotel room. Janai gets up and notices there's a light coming from outside. She gets up and looks at the time. It is 3:24 a.m. She sits in her bed, and as she looks out the window, there's a strange light in the sky that flashes into a blinding light that encompasses everything. Janai looks puzzled, as the view was really beautiful, but the flash had made her really confused. She then goes back to bed. That morning, Riley is up and ready to go. He starts to wake Janai up. She's really sleepy, and she doesn't want to get up. Riley tells her to wake up so they can go and experience more sights in Iceland. He was also getting hungry. Janai tells him that she's still on the US time and she'll wake up accordingly. Riley has no option but to pull the quilt off her. She gets ready and they go down. As they reach down, they find there's no continental breakfast. Janai says that everything is so boring here. Riley tells Janai that there was supposed to be continental breakfast there. He then asks her if she wants to go to a cafe, and she agrees, so they decide to head out. They go to the hotel's reception, but there's no one there. They make their way out of the hotel and onto the streets. As they're walking down the street, they start to notice that it seems empty. There's no one around. No people were walking on the streets, and there was also no traffic on the roads. Riley asks Janai for the time, and she tells him that it is around 10:30 a.m. They puzzle over what could be going on. Maybe there's some kind of an event going on, but they're really confused about what was happening. They move around and find no one is there, as if the entire town is empty. As they continue, they start to yell out to anyone that could hear them. Riley tells Janai that if there was an event going on, they must have heard something about it, and there was no billboard or anything that could have confirmed any event. Feeling panicked, they decide to look inside the buildings. They move to a local grocery store and look around, but cannot find anyone. They move around on the streets looking for people, but there's no one to be found anywhere. Riley tries calling the hotel that they were staying at, but no one picks up his calls. Janai tells Riley that she tried calling her mom, but she did not answer her calls. They walk around the town looking for anyone. They even looked inside every building that they could have looked in, but they found no one. They end up in a restaurant after walking the whole city looking for other people. By this time, they've walked through half of the city, but not even a single person came across them. The restaurant has TVs on, and they begin to flip through the channels. The only programs not working are the news shows. They head back to their hotel room. Janai keeps calling and texting her mom. She even leaves her a message telling her that they were having a very weird day and she wanted to talk to her. They freak out and move out of the restaurant. As they're walking on the streets again, Janai tells Riley that there were no posts on social media and she had no new emails. They talk, if it is a plague, then where are all the dead bodies? And if the aliens abducted everyone, then where are the alien ships? Things are getting really weird for them. They go back to their hotel room and Riley takes out his laptop. Riley is checking the internet, trying to find out what's going on. The internet is still working, but the websites only have yesterday's news. Riley looks for webcams around the world, and they're all empty of life. As Janai keeps calling everyone she knows, wondering if any one of her friends or relatives would pick up her call, they start to discuss the situation, as they have no idea what's going on. Riley says that they needed a vantage point. They needed a world view. He looks at different cameras, which provide the world view on the internet, and there's no movement. Not even a single person is seen. The streets all around the world are empty. Riley tells Janai that they are here, so there has to be someone else as well, just like them. So they decide to leave the hotel in search of other people. They find a car in the middle of the road, still in drive. They take the car and they start to drive around the city in search of people. Janai questions if this could be the rapture. Riley asks her what she means, at the end of time, and then he asks her to keep trying her mother again and again. They drive for miles and miles looking for someone, but there's no one besides them. They sit down and Riley tells Janai that he wants to say that everyone just went to the east side of the island. He then says that he would also want to believe that Janai's mom also went shopping and she had forgotten her phone at home. He also says that he wishes that this is the longest nightmare that he's ever had. They are really confused and scared. They have no idea where everyone went, but the only little joy in the situation was that they were there together. After searching for most of the day, they go back to their room and Janai straight goes to bed. As Riley looks out of the window, Janai asks him to close the blinds. Riley keeps looking outside and says, "Where did all of you go?" The next morning, Riley is once again up and dressed, while Janai is still in bed. He tries to wake her, but she refuses to get up. He tells her that they have to eat something and they must make breakfast for themselves. Janai tells him that she does not want to get out of bed. He then lets her be and goes out. Later, they're just in the hotel room. Janai is still trying to get in touch with her mother via email, but there's no response from anyone. They both are getting really depressed from the situation, so discussing the possibilities of what happened, Janai asks Riley how are they going to get home, and how will they get off the island? Riley tells her that he has no idea at the moment. She asks him if they were selected, and if they should be preparing for something, but Riley tells her that they are not selected. Janai is still concerned that the apocalypse has occurred, and they have been abandoned. Riley tells her that this is not true. They both go to the grocery shop and fill 3 baskets with food. They gather their belongings and depart for a more suitable location. They end up in a 3-story house. They then go shopping for clothing. They enjoy walking around trying on clothes and selecting items. They appear to spend their days together, enjoying one another's company. The pair are enjoying their time in the countryside. Riley is stalking Janai and photographing her. Janai approaches a mountaintop pool and begins to undress and jumps in. Riley does the same. They are having sex. They're in the grocery shop selecting food. Riley is amusing himself in a shopping cart. While skating in the grocery cart, it flips and he crashes to the ground. They dress up and go out to a romantic supper. Janai is furious with Riley during dinner and tells him he needs to be more cautious. It shifts to a scene at the grocery store where Riley's arm is bleeding. Riley insists on continuing to live his life. Janai storms out, enraged. Riley soon assures Janai that she will no longer be silly. Janai claims that all she wants is to return home. They've returned home after another day of looking, but the water is no longer working. Riley eats a yogurt out of order, which irritates Janai because they're meant to eat them in the order of expiration date. She's concerned about the food's shelf life. Riley promises to take care of it. Janai advises eating the foods in the exact order. As they go to the other locations, time passes. Janai is still attempting to reach her relatives. Riley begins to construct a water pump. They decide they need a change of scenery and plan to go on a weekend excursion to the mountains. Riley walks out to fetch some food for the fireplace and comes upon a guy. They're both stunned. The man requests some water. Nils is the name of the individual. He requests food. The man is in poor health. They assist him inside and provide him with food. The man's coughing bouts persist. The individual seemed to be content with his destiny. Late that night, when Riley is sleeping, Janai and Nils have a talk in which he admits that his wife abandoned him. Janai comes to the conclusion that we are all alone. Riley notifies Janai the next morning that Nils did not make it. They bury him among his family at the lakeside cemetery. Janai becomes agitated and begins to wonder why they're burying the man at all. Riley is perplexed as to why she's unhappy. Janai claims that nothing makes sense. Someone else has to be there. She says it can't be just them, and departs without assisting Riley in burying Nils. Janai gets ready and goes in search of others. She goes about marking houses with an X with red duct tape. Janai is cleaning up supper at home in the city when her computer alerts her that she has a message. As she approaches the door, she is nervous yet hopeful. Riley's note has arrived, and Janai is plainly unhappy. Riley wakes up the next morning to discover a parcel with his name on it on the kitchen table. He enters the kitchen and, for the first time, activates the water pumping system he built. He walks over to the sink and turns on the water. While he waits, he opens the package to see that his photographs have been processed. As he goes through the photos, he notices Janai's sweater outdoors and becomes concerned. He goes outdoors to examine the sweater more closely. He returns his gaze from the sweater to the images and realizes something. He throws the images away and drives away in search of Janai. While he stares, we notice that the apparatus he built is gently but steadily bringing water to the home. Riley eventually locates their second car, and they went swimming by the mountain. He dashes to the pool and discovers Janai has committed suicide by drowning herself. Riley pulls her from the water and sobs over her body. Back at home, water begins to stream into the sink. Riley then leaps into the sea in an effort to drown himself, but comes up for air after a time. He then tries to drag Janai back, but collapses. He stumbles back to his van, leaving Janai's body where it lay. In a stupor, he drives away. The film concludes. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.